Hey guys, it is Tristan with nerdettes-newsstand, and we are back for another Bad Ideas. We are going to talk about recommendations, whether they are mainstream comics, manga, webtoons, anything. We are going to talk about the best books that are out right now, what we're reading, and what we enjoy. How are you today, Bianca?
I'm doing good, Tristan. How are you today?
I am good. I'm glad to talk about some good comics. I always feel like a lot of times on my channel I'm talking about the bad. So it's nice to kind of prop up the good because there is like when I was going through making my list, there is a lot of really good books. Now, mind you, I don't have much Marvel on my list or anything. Maybe a little bit, but I noticed that I tend to gravitate a lot towards like Image and AWA and Aftershock. A lot of the kind of new and upcoming books that are, I don't know if you consider those indies, but I
I
always
think
think of
so.
crowdfunding. I never knew because I wasn't sure if like indie would be considered crowdfunding or not. But there are a lot of there are a lot of good books at DC. But if you were looking for something different, new, imaginative, and new ideas, Image and AWA and Aftershock are the way to go, at least in my opinion. I
I think
enjoy it.
Source Point Press is pretty good. I actually have no idea if they're indie.
They must be because I've never heard of them.
Really? I see them like in my comics. When I visit my comic shop, I would see something like Source Point Press a few times.
Oh, I
And
thought
I'm
you
like,
said
oh, what
surf.
is this? No, sorry, Source Point Press.
I'm pretty sure I have heard of that now that you say that.
I'll be sending you those links. So
I'm looking. None of them look. Oh, they do Good Boy.
you know Good Boy?
Yes, it's like the John Wick opposite.
Well, it's on my list.
Okay, there we go. We have Bianca's first recommendation. Are you reading Good Boy?
I am reading Good Boy. I actually I was on their Kickstarter for the second volume, but I was like, I need the first volume first before I read the second one. And so I got the first volume. I'm like, okay, I need the second volume. And I'm like, let me see their freaking website. I'm like, okay, do they have the second one? I'm like, yeah, they got the second one, so I can order the second volume from there. Which is, as Tristan says, John Wick, but reverse. It is not the dog that dies and the person has to avenge the dog. It is the human that dies and the dog has to avenge his human.
Is it similar to like Stray Dogs, how they talk, or is it?
Listen, they walk on two legs.
They walk on two legs?
They walk on two legs. There is an entire world where it's only dogs. And I think there's some cats in here that walk on two legs too. But it's you mostly see dogs, and like a lot of them are with people as like bodyguards, assassins,
Oh, no.
tailors. They're in, the red district clubs and all that stuff.
Oh my gosh. See, I had seen it when I watch Comics Elite do their best of the week, and it's always in there. And I'm like, okay, is this really worth it? Because I really enjoyed Stray Dogs. I may have to check it out. Is it all action? Is there like
There's a lot of action.
Is it okay?
But you feel
is it
sad
more than
too.
just the one dog?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, I always see the one dog on the cover. Is there like, does he have a pack
Like a
he runs
partner?
with or anything?
No, it's just him. But the people in the organization, which is similar to John Wick's and how they do currency and everything, majority of those are run by the dogs.
Ah, so I've never even seen John Wick. So it
What?
would be no. It looks good. Keanu Reeves is a good actor, but it's just not my cup of tea.
That's
Maybe
what you
it is.
think until
I
you
know.
watch it.
That's what I was gonna say. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm so bad about giving stuff a chance. I know there's a fourth one coming out or something.
Yeah. I kind of want to interview the person who did Good Boy.
I bet you could get him. You should email him.
I
That would
should.
be awesome.
When
You
I'm not
definitely should.
lazy.
Speaking of, oh no, it's not Source Point Press. I have for my first recommendation. It just finished up. It's a 5-issue miniseries. It's Hit Me. I really want to get her on for an interview. I think
Hit
I'm going
me,
to try that
baby,
also.
one more time.
It's actually about a woman that is a sex worker, and it's so unique. I've never seen this in comics before, where it's kind of like we've seen, action and theft and all of that stuff, but this woman, her specialty is getting hit. So if you are into more like BDSM and all that kind of stuff, this is your girl. She's your girl. Um, Basically, we go through this kind of storyline of one of her clients. He got into some trouble. There are some diamonds involved, and she takes off with a diamond. And you kind of had this, I guess, sad little puppy dog guy following her around, who's actually obviously from the very beginning in love with her. And then, happy endings. It's so good, but it's like there's not a lot of books out there that I see that talk about sex work, whether it is actual sex work or, pictures or anything like that. So I thought this. What's that?
On Kickstarter, there's like an abundance of those type of stuff on there.
That's what I thought. I see. I didn't know, and I thought this was really unique. And I'm like learning all this about all these different type of sex work, and I'm like, whoa, like it seems like pretty fucking interesting. Okay, no matter what I say here, it's gonna come off wrong. No matter what I say, guarantee. But it's interesting. That's what I'm gonna say about that. No matter how I go about that sentence, it was not gonna work. Okay, so what do you have next?
So what I have next is another one that I got from Kickstarter, which is called By Visibility.
Oh, is that? Oh my God. Is that the girl that writes for Newsarama?
I don't know. Are you talking about Catherine Calamia?
I thought that was her book. I seen it, but I forgot all about it.
Ugh. I had it on my Kickstarter, I think. Was it last year? Something like that. And this year they had a Volume 2 Kickstarter, which I did back, but I wanted to like review
yes,
the
it is
first
her.
one.
Sorry, go ahead.
It is? Yay!
Yes!
I wanted to review this book first while promoting the second one, but I didn't have enough time, and so I missed my chance. So it's an anthology series, and I think they did it during, is it By Visibility Month or Pride Month? It was one of those. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll get it and see like if I like it or not. Because I do like anthology series sometimes. So like some of them have different artwork. I think there was like two or three that I was like, I wish there could have been more, because a lot of these feel shorter than others. And I'm like, wait, that's how it's going to end? Wait, are some of you friends, or is this a poly relationship? I don't know. 1, 2,
I
3,
forgot
4,
about
5,
this book.
6,
I meant
7,
to back
8,
it too. Crap.
9. So there's 9 stories and only 2 or 3. And I'm like, it was okay. But like a lot of these have like really cute art. Some of them I really like their stories, whether it was like an alien story, a regular slice of life story, a webtoon-ish type of story, a musical type of story, a spy story. The spy one was probably my favorite because it was just so cheesy feeling during the whole book, and it just ended abruptly. I'm like, what the heck is this? It's kind of great. It was like 1 or 2 lesbians were getting married. Bisexuals. I'm not sure if one was a lesbian and one was a bisexual, or if they're both bisexuals, but one of them has a bi card. And
oh my gosh.
like while trying to take out her vows from her pocket, her bi card falls out. And they're like, you didn't register in, like, you didn't surrender your bi card when you're getting married to a woman? And they're like, nah, I don't believe in that stuff. He's like, oh my gosh, we have a rogue bisexual. And so he presses the button, and then these spies wearing the bisexual colors like come out from the sky, and they're like, by authority, don't move, stay where you are. You got to return that bi card now. Or we'll take you in. And I'm like, bro.
2 is live right now. I just looked because I meant to back this. And I just looked 2, you can get 1 and 2. So I'm in luck. I'm glad you mentioned that one. I forgot all about it.
I'm gonna get them both. Because I can't find it.
What's that?
Do they have a website? Because I honestly can't find it. If they
I've got it on Kickstarter. I'll email it to you.
Cool.
It's called Still Buy.
Wait, is that still going on?
Yes.
I thought it was funded already.
It is, but it must. Yeah, it's still live. The campaign and everything's up.
What? Okay, well, I guess I have to redo my entire strategy then. I already backed the 2nd issue, which because I'm coolio like that. And it's honestly like it's a lot of them. A lot of them are funny stories, and some of them are like how it feels to be considered bisexual, but you're still like, depending on who you talk to, they will give you this type of answer, like, you know, one or the other, blah blah blah, and like how they feel about it, that kind of stuff. Oop. Oh, it says pre-order the book. They can make pre-orders on Kickstarter now?
I guess so.
Oh, okay. So I guess you can pre-order. You can't see it, but for the volume 1 that I have, I asked Robert to help me with the cover. I'm like, listen, I need you to help me to choose the covers, because I actually do that. I contact my friends, I could take screenshots of all the covers, and I'm like, I like all of these, which one should I pick? And they're like, oh, pick this one, pick that one, pick that one. And I was running out of time, so I used Robert's suggestion. Thank you, Robert.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you mentioned that one. I meant to back it. I forgot all about it. I've been subscribed to her YouTube channel for years.
She has a YouTube channel?
Yes. I'll send it to you. She does weekly videos about what comics she likes and all that fun stuff.
Just so you know, for volume 2, I freaking used the pets. I did the pets one.
The buy pets.
Yeah, because it's so cute, and it sucks because the cover that you see for the Still Buy, like that specific cover where it has a guy and a girl in it. That's the one I wanted to pick, and then I saw the pets one, and I'm like, oh no, I have to choose now.
They're so cute. Their little tails. I love it. Okay, so for my recommendation of what I am reading right now that's great is The Flash. The Flash has been it was good under Joshua Williamson, but Jeremy Adams takes over after Future State. And I'm not kidding. I wasn't a huge Wally West fan, but this guy writes him in such a way that I adore this character now. And then he does this really good job of making everything revolve around, you know, being a normal person, also obviously a metahuman, but being normal, needing, you know, time with your wife or with your kids, or having I still, probably one of the best issues of the year is they did a Flash, daddy-daughter dance. And then later on, they bring in different stories where he's with his son. Like, the way he makes the plot all very familial is awesome, and it's wholesome, and it's one of those comics, like, there are comics that even from DC and Marvel that I'd be like, probably kids shouldn't read it. Nope, kid could read any one of these issues and love all of the characters. And like seeing Buddy's daughter come in, Animal Man's daughter come in, and she's kind of a little bit of a shit. I fucking love it. Like, she's so cute, and she's friends with Wally's daughter, and kind of like not really friends at all with his son, but kind of that like picking back and forth of a relationship when they're young. I freaking love this book. It's so good. It's one of the best at DC, and it never gets the credit. It's so good.
Because people are turds.
I know. I think a lot of fans are jaded after what they've done to Wally West for literally years. And it's going to take some time for it to kick in and people see, yeah, this is actually a really good book. I should jump back on. It's that good. It's so sweet. I love it. Okay, so what do you have next?
Cool. So what I have next is was also on Kickstarter, but I did not back it. It's called Holtt. The Geek Getaway, Holtt.
Okay.
The Geek Getaway asked me, like, out of nowhere. He was like, "Hey, I am interviewing a indie comic creator. Do you want to be my co-host?" And I said, "Sure." So like it was such a late interview, like 9:00 p.m. So I was on there and we interviewed the person, the creator of Holtt, his name is Cedric Hood. And so we asked him a lot of stuff on his Kickstarter. I thought before I interview him, I was at work, by the way, so this is literally like straight after work. I decided to check his Kickstarter out and see if it's still like going on, and I'm like, no, it's finished funding. But sometimes in the campaign area they will say, hey, you want to read the first issue free? Click on this link. And so I'm like, I sped through that first issue and I'm like, dang, this is such a long first issue while I was closing the store. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually pretty cool. And so the Geek Getaway, he was able to read the entire 61 pages. Well, I got to read the first issue, so the questions I asked were just from the first issue. Well, his was like the entire thing.
Right.
So this comic is available digitally on Gumroad. It is for mature readers, and so is Good Boy, by the way. It is about a soldier of fortune with the ability to absorb a person's memories by means of hippocampus consumption is being hunted by an unknown killer. This proves that even more troublesome since his capacity to remember is finite, and he can no longer separate his memories from the one he absorbs, hampering his short list of possible foes who may be responsible for the vile murder attempt of his life. So it's a guy, he's married, she's like the last ninja assassin, I believe, has a scarf on. There's like a nanny who's like a robot shaman kind of thing. And then you have him. He's like a zombie, and he kind of like literally eats people's memories and gets their memories, like iZombie, something like that.
I was just gonna say, like, iZombie. That's awesome. I like those kind of things, but eating brains, it doesn't sound exactly appetizing.
Right? The first issue, he does not eat any brains yet, so I'm guessing the second issue onward is where they showcase more of that power. It also seems like it's a Wolverine type of thing. Cedric said in the interview that if he's injured and he eats other people, their brains, that kind of stuff, he will heal faster than his normal healing ability.
That makes sense. That actually sounds kind of cool.
I will actually link you the interview if somebody wants to know more about it, and I'll link you the Gumroad if people want to read it. I will say, though, it is not in color. It is in black and white aesthetic due to money reasons, because color is expensive.
Oh, yeah. I'm curious to see it because I didn't know you did an interview. I would have watched it already. I'll put it in the description so everyone can check it out.
Yeah, I didn't expect to, and I'm like, oh shoot, cool. I should be like advertising this, but I was way too late.
I mean, that's awesome though. I want to see it now. That's awesome. Okay, so for my next one, There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd.
Not Patrick.
It is basically it is this. I think he is a teenager. I'm pretty sure he's a teenager, or at least young 20s. His mom, something's very wrong with his mom, and she is in like an elderly care center, and it's very expensive. And he's trying to figure out basically how to take care of her. Well, come to find out, there's been about 5 or 6 robberies that have happened, and all the people that have done these bank robberies have confessed, but have had really bad dementia, and they felt like they were drugged and everything else. Patrick Todd has this power over somebody, over people, to make them do what he wants. All he has to do is like look you in the eyes and then be able to quickly forget you also. It's really cool. It's it's not wholesome, but it's sweet that his motivation is his mother, just taking care of her, just making sure she's okay. And come to find out, I'm only 2 issues in so far. It's newer, it's on Aftershock. But basically, for his entire life, he didn't know anything about his father. At the end of issue 2, at the end of issue 1, we learn that his father is looking for him. But it's going to, at least what I'm kind of inferring, is going to explain where his powers come from, because they don't come from his mom, and he's got the dementia. So I'm wondering if his father used his powers on his mother, and that's why she is in this condition. I'm wondering if it's more... In the first issue, I thought they called the father Loki. Now that could just be a name, or it could have something to do with actual Loki. So I'm curious to see where it goes. There's like a lot of really cool elements that like keep me questioning what the fuck is going on. Like this poor young kid on his own, like so much so he was living at a hotel and had to pay for the hotel with obviously money stolen, but pay for it and say, oh, my father's just working late. Here, can we get a room? Like he's had to cover his tracks so he doesn't go into some sort of like child protective services and stuff. So it's really interesting. It's really good too. I like
I'm
it.
jealous.
What's that?
I am interested.
I'm interested to see where it goes, because I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, if it's like Loki, the god Loki, I'll be less interested. I think that'll be kind of like a cheap way out. But if it's not, then I'm like, how the fuck is all of this going on, and how is this kid surviving? It's really cool. What do you have?
Cool. So I have another digital. I have another digital. Okay, so this one I actually did a review of on my channel called Rayne of Ages.
Awesome.
And this is a series about a bad girl. It's a bad girl fantasy comic with an elf hero, and she is kind of like the last of her kind to protect the Elven Empire. And she kind of gets like petrified. Thanks, Simon. By Medusa. And then hundreds of years later, or who knows, thousands of years later, she gets unpetrified by a new group of people. So she is officially the last of her kind, and she's going to have to try and get used to this new world where there's still a lot of like fantasy stuff going on. It's still black and white, also due to money issues. He wants to have it colored by like 2024. But I'm actually like the type of person's like, if it's really good in black and white, I actually don't mind it not being in color. But this is something that he actually wants to do. Like he wants to see his work in color. So I'm like, I understand that and I respect it. And I was actually very surprised that on my channel, I got a lot of great responses on the black and white artwork. Apparently a lot of people were very interested. And
I'm not. I don't know. I loved it in The Walking Dead, but I'm not a huge black and white person. I get it though. Some people enjoy that color palette or lack of color palette more.
The Walking Dead is in black and white?
It originally was.
Oh. Gross. I'm just kidding. Like for me, it has to be a very specific art. Like if I look at an art and it's in black and white and I'm like, I do not like this art, goodbye.
Yeah.
He does like have a lot of beautiful like posters and stuff that are in color, and I'm like, I want everything. So now that the Kickstarter is over for the second issue, I have the link to the first issue in digital. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any more physicals like right now. He'll like set up a link for those like much later on. What else did I want to say? Oh gosh. If you like elf chicks, with somewhat bigger bosoms.
Tickle bitties.
Yeah. Like they're not huge, like anime style huge or anything. Like they're just like regular big size, I guess I should say. And like this actually had a lot more action than I thought it was going to have. I don't know how the second issue is going to be like, but I'm really hyped in how they're going to be doing the action sequences and how this all-female team is going to be going through everything.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Exactly. That's awesome. This is kind of the perfect time to talk about The Walking Dead. That's my next recommendation, only because it is coming out now. It originally came out in black and white, and now they are doing the deluxe edition, and it's all colored. So it's coming out monthly again, and it's really cool. Like, as somebody who liked the original, to come back to it, and there's a lot of stuff I forgot because they change a lot when it comes to either that or the show, and it's really neat to come back to some of the original characters. Like, oh man, seeing the kid die and like, fuck that shit. I remember how. Huh?
Was it Carl?
No, the daughter. Oh my god, what's her name?
I don't care about no daughter as long as it's not Carl. I'm just kidding.
No. He's safe. But seeing it come back and seeing it like in color is fucking awesome, because that was one of the gripes I had about the original series. I liked it. It was really good, but I'm not a huge black and white person. Like, the story has to be really good. And it was. But now that it's coming out in color, I'm like, fuck, yes. This is so awesome. Walking Dead was one of those books that, like, changed the indie scene as a whole. Like, really, really cemented Robert Kirkman as one of this generation's best writers. I know not everybody likes zombies, but I like zombies. Zombies are in. I love the idea that it's not about the zombies, right? It is, right? There's walkers around, there's zombies, but it's more about the humans and how they interact after this apocalyptic event and how they treat each other. And how you've got people like, Rick, who wants to do best by his people, but then you've got people like Negan who just want to fucking see chaos for the sake of chaos. I love it. It's so good.
Oh, I got a question for you.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Do you prefer to like read or watch something of zombies, but do you like it better if they don't know anything about zombies and just give them a different name, or do you prefer that they do know about zombies and just call them zombies?
I think zombies are so used so often that zombies is a fine term. Like, they use other terms like muertos and walkers and undead and stuff like that.
Might as well just call them cannibals. The true cannibals.
Yeah, exactly. There's a kind of an interesting part with the whisperers in the series where they think that zombies there's something left in them, and it's kind of weird to me. Like, I don't think if this was real and it happened and everything else, I don't think I would have a second thought about killing them. Like, there's nothing left in them. That's the whole point. But then, you've got people like in the Whisperers that think there's like a soul and da-da-da. Like, shut up, you fucking hippies. Yes. Hippies. Freaking weirdos. Okay, what do you have next?
Cool. So what I have next is Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons by
Oh my god, you're so smart.
Woot woot. I just read the second issue like 2 days ago or yesterday. I know I was late.
What did you think?
They changed the artist.
I know. Gina's
but the artist
good,
is still good.
Yeah.
It's still good.
What did you think of the story?
So, a lot of people had was kind of like weirded out in the first issue, mostly because they said that they painted all guys as slave owners, abusers, etc., etc. But this issue kind of like went against that. That's right. How is that the term?
So, yeah, no, I agree.
So it seems like they're not targeting like all guys, even though they complained about men a lot in the first issue. It's mostly like they're going after specifically the ones that are actually doing the harm to women, like
Right.
markets and stuff. It showed like one of what's her name? Hippolyta. She is now an Amazon. And she grabbed a lot of women she saved, and she was like, okay, well, make us all Amazons, please. And, you know, one of them who was like a slave owner, no, she was one of the people who's going to be sold. The Amazons, they kind of like invited her to this mission to save more women. And so she's like, hey, you know, come with us, you know, you'll be safe, you'll be free. And then some kid out of nowhere, like little boy, grabbed a knife and he's like, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was like, oh my gosh. And so her instinct is to kill him. And like, the thing is, like, in some art, she looks pretty tall, but when you see her face, it looks very young. And
Yeah.
so they said that she's actually like around the same age as this little boy. Obviously a little bit older, but around the same age as this little boy. And she didn't even want to hesitate into killing him. And she was stopped by the Amazons. And she was like, what are you doing? Why are you stopping me? And she's like, because that's a boy. And she was like, yeah, but it's going to grow up to be a man and it's going to be exactly like these men. And she was like, that doesn't matter. He should not pay for the sins of his father. And I was like, yes, hallelujah.
Like
And then, of course, unfortunately, later on, the kid is like starving, so he's stealing. And the girl is not letting it go. She's like, I don't want to take any chances. So she goes against the Amazons. And while this kid is praying to Apollo, he's like, oh my gosh, these women are evil. They did this. My father said that you will protect us from the evil beings and all that stuff. Give me like your blessing, that kind of stuff. And, you know, while he's praying, that's when the girl kills him. And the Amazons don't know. And but Apollo, because he was the one being prayed to, he finds this out, and then he learns of the Amazons, which were supposed to be secret.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because of her, there's gonna be a battle, I think, and I'm kind of hyped to see it.
I am too. I love that series. It reminds me of like the idea of the boot. So this sounds weird, but it reminds me, it's good writing to the point of if a boot was on your neck with women's rights, right? A boot is on your neck. You're complaining about that boot being there. All you want is that boot lifted off your neck. That's all they want is a little bit of freedom and a little bit of agency, I guess is the best word. They want that boot off their neck. And the men here are the ones insisting it is there. And I think it's phenomenal the way Kelly Sue DeConnick is writing it. Like, I absolutely, one of the best. I love that book. I really wish Phil Jimenez had continued the art. It was
there a
stunning.
reason was it too much, or?
Yeah.
I thought so. I'm like, you know, you did so much work. Thank you for your work. You deserve the break.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jean Ha is a good artist.
She is. The art is still very beautiful. It's less poppy like Phil Jimenez's art, but that's probably a good thing, because a lot of people said that they focused more on the art than the story because of that, because it was too good.
Fair enough. It was so good. Like, it was probably the best art I've seen in a comic book in years, besides maybe like J.H. Williams III's Echolands, but it was amazing.
And her, is it a woman who did the art?
He.
It's a boy. So his art is a little bit more muted, so it looks like it's in the tone with the actual story. And I'm like, okay, cool. I love this art still. Another thing is that people were wondering why they were painting males and male gods in this light, when the females themselves are obviously like, they done bad stuff too. And in the very first issue, they explained that. Like, they had a fight with Artemis, you know, and in the second issue, they remind you of that fight and how she doesn't want to be a part of them, and that there's a lot of arguments and disagreements with this female group. And they're not all just happy. You know, they all have their own problems, and, you know, they're trying like the goddesses and the Amazons, the original Amazons, not the human ones with Hippolyta, they're trying to make this work, but are realizing that, you know, humans are humans, and, you know, petty people are petty people. So there's like there might not be just, the male gods and the female gods and Amazons, but also the human women, and then Artemis, who is by herself. It's like a whole conflict with everybody.
I love the designs of the Amazons. Oh my god, like Aphrodite looks and Artemis. They're all so unique. It's so cool.
I love them so much.
I know that book is so good. We like when the third one comes out, we should do a stream and just talk about the story and the artwork and the concepts. It's awesome. I love it.
I don't want it to be over.
I know. I'm hoping they get those other issues. I'm hoping. But I don't know, because Solicitation said this is the final issue. But you never know with DC. They're a hot mess right now, so we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so for my next one, we will talk about, I've got so many, Swamp Thing by Ram V. Oh my goodness. There's only one issue left. And we're seeing the end of this Levi Kamai Swamp Thing instead of Alec Holland. I mean, not necessarily the end, but the end of this season at least, or whatever they're calling it now. It's so good. Ram V is such an amazing, delicate story writer. So we're seeing like the green, obviously, which is what Alec is and Levi are an avatar of. But we're also seeing machinations and the idea of kind of the industrial complex and what it leads to, and what kind of, in a weird way, like blue collar leads to. It's really cool. And then we've got this Walker guy. And I originally thought maybe he was going to be an avatar for the sand, but it's more like the rot. Like he is an avatar for this just absolute depravity in the world. And it's really neat. Like we just got a fucking Swamp Thing Green Lantern. Like how much more could I ask for? It's so fucking cool.
I want a Swamp Thing Green Lantern.
I'm pretty sure they're tying it in with Dark Crisis, because at San Diego Comic-Con they announced this like Green Death or Green something, I can't remember exactly what it's called, where it's Swamp Thing kind of fused with I believe, I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure they're tying this story in with Dark Crisis. I'm like, that means that there's a possibility the last issue comes out, they do Dark Crisis, and it comes back. I am here for it. And then he's got a like a cutesy girlfriend that's kind of going through the, oh my god, you're a Swamp Thing, you're a green, okay, but I love you anyways kind of thing. And his brother is kind of his antithesis, right? He is everything that Levi is not. So he's ruthless, he's cunning, he is straight up kind of evil. And it's all comes down to Levi really fucked up when he was doing kind of sales. The land that they were born on, his father wanted protected, at all costs, and Levi didn't protect it. And actually he was kind of fundamental in the selling of that land. And all of that is kind of coming to a head in this next issue. I love the way that Ram V can interject a little bit of current day politics, of current families, of loss and tragedy, and depravity and compassion. He interjects all of these different themes in superheroes and makes them so much stronger because of it. I'll suggest this to anybody. Even if you haven't read a damn comic in your life, you could read Swamp Thing and love it. I'm telling you.
I'll get the trade paperback, I promise.
I convinced someone, yes. It's so good. You're going to love it.
Mm-hmm. BRB.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So, next one for me is another indie.
Yay.
This is also on Kickstarter. And I went to look into their page to see if they also have it selling somewhere. And they do on their Ko-fi page. So you can buy this digitally on their Ko-fi page. Woo! It is called Tyrant Fall. Tyrant Fall #1 is the extra-sized full-color premiere issue of a kung fu action adventure, drawing inspiration from the pages of Dragon Ball Z and Heavy Metal magazine, as well as Dungeons and Dragons and other fantasy role-playing games. It's 30 pages of kick butt fight scenes set in a world of war-driven technologies and ancient magics. So here's the story. Thousands of years ago, the elven Fey Lords benevolently ruled over the world, overseeing an era of peace. Witnessing the ascent of human civilization, the Fey Lords returned to their home realm, the Fey. To mankind, they bestowed two final gifts. Dominate. No, it is dominion. Yeah, dominion of the world and the ancient knowledge of magic. Or do they mean what's that called?
Dominion?
Not dominion.
I don't know. I don't know.
Like when you're taking over something.
Dominating?
Yeah, I wonder if they meant that. Or maybe they do mean dominion. I don't know the definition of dominion, so that is it.
I've never heard of this one. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I've never heard of. I'm not a huge kung fu person. But was the first issue good?
Yes, I finished it a while ago, and I'm like, wait, I didn't read this, and I have to. And so I read it, and I'm like, oh, this does give me the feeling of Dragon Ball Z.
I like that description.
There's not really like there's not actual like kung fu fighting. It's just like it's regular fighting. Like you would see in a fight scenes, you know, just regular choreography. There was this one guy who used like coins to fight. Like I think he uses some sort of telekinesis, and he like has like hundreds and thousands of coins, and he just throws them at people. He can also he can also do oh gosh, something like they all can do something similar to like a Kamehameha, but on a smaller scale of Dragon Ball Z. So like they all have some sort of like that kind of stuff. And then there was a guy who's like a robot.
What is a Kamehameha?
That's right. You haven't seen Dragon Ball Z, yeah?
No, all I could think of was Mecha Like a High, Mecha Hiney Ho. And I'm
what
like, what
heck?
are you talking about?
So, I'll send you a video because I feel like
there we go.
It is not gonna. It's not gonna be. I'm just gonna look like a weirdo. Energy ball. Think of like a huge energy ball.
Okay.
Yeah, but theirs is like really, really small. And so like they can fight. Some of them have like robot machinery. Think of it like not like a Mad Max kind of thing, but they all look kind of weird, and the way they dress can look somewhat like it. This almost did not make its funding on Kickstarter.
Oh no.
What's it called? I like tried really hard to make sure people like get this campaign going and at least meet its funding goal. I tried really hard.
Did they make it though?
They did. That's why I got this comic.
That's what I thought. I was just making sure.
And so like the people they fight are like dragons, but they're called New Age dragons because they don't look like dragons per se. They look like people, but like they're different. It'll make sense once you like read it and stuff. But like it was super fascinating. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. I want to see what happens in issue 2. People been dying everywhere. First few pages was so sad. But like I'm getting like Dragon Ball Z, and I'm like, you fail, you get back up again, do it again. Boom.
I love
it.
Get
Tyrant Fall.
There we go. Okay, so next I have I feel like mine are so mainstream. Oh well. I kind of put these together because I've been rereading Sandman. But I also want to talk about Nightmare Country. Sandman, yeah, I love Sandman. It's still, even going back through, because I went back over Preludes and Nocturnes and Doll House, and I love the way, I'll always love the way that Neil Gaiman is able to write, for lack of a better terms, woke ideology in such a phenomenal way. Not only that, but just like really good characters. It's something that I miss. And then we're seeing it continued with James Tynion's Nightmare Country. It's only 4 issues in so far, but it's diving into, Corinthian was always one of the fan favorite characters, and rightfully so. He's a badass, he's weird, he's fucking disgusting, but you still kind of like him. And he's back. Oh, I think it's like the 3rd Corinthian, but still. he's back and he's almost going to the point where I think he's going to have to become more of like an anti-hero to help this girl Flynn. Because it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Because like this agony and ecstasy are actually way worse than the Corinthian. So he has to figure out a way to get Flynn so he can get the questions he needs to know out of her, but also deal with agony and ecstasy, which are, I'm assuming, we don't really know yet, but I'm pretty sure they're nightmares, just like the Corinthian. But it's awesome. I love Sandman. It's really cool to see that the Sandman was actually number 1 on Netflix for a few days. I think it still is, because I'm like, yeah, this show needs a second season. It's so fucking good. I still need to get you to watch it.
I can watch some of it today.
Hell yeah.
How many episodes?
There's 10. They're about 45 minutes each. But I think once you get into it, you'll understand, like, it's very mature storytelling in this kind of sci-fi world. And I think you'll understand why I love this series so much. And honestly, I've been trying to get you to read it. You won't have to after watching it because it's that close. Like, a lot of the dialogue was verbatim in the comics. Like, they changed a couple things because they couldn't use some of the DC characters like like Constantine and Martian Manhunter and Etrigan. But pretty much it's verbatim. Yeah. They have like Arkham in there in the original and Scarecrow. And yeah, it was always danced like kind of in the DC universe, but also kind of outside of it. It would every once in a while, like in the second, 4th volume, you have the JSA come in and stuff. But I want to do eventually a video because that's why I'm going back over them in the next week or so and do what I think they could do for season 2. And there's so much good stuff. I'm excited. I love Sandman and Nightmare Country. They're both good.
I still gotta read them though.
I'm curious to see, especially like watch the first episode and let me know what you think. Because if you're gonna, I promise you're gonna love it. I promise.
Okay, if not, you give me $5.
That's right, $5 is on the line here, guys. Okay,
I know Liana's not liking it.
What? Wait! You can't drop that bomb and then say why.
It's kind of hard to say. To me, it seems like she didn't really like some of the decisions that was created for the show.
She's officially not my friend. That's okay. I will have to ask her because the only thing I can think of is Liana was a huge fan of Peacemaker and kind of that like almost more like funny super heroics. I wonder if it's just maybe like because it is very much.
She actually does love the comic Sandman.
Oh, well then we can still be friends. It's all good.
Just some decisions, I think.
I get it.
So for me, now I'm going into Marvel territory.
Woohoo!
So, one of them is going to be Wastelanders, which are like 5 different one-shots, which I made reviews about. It is Star-Lord, Wolverine, Doctor Doom, Black Widow. I'm always missing someone. Hawkeye.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watch your reviews. Well, I listen mostly.
Yeah. Listen, Linda. I was gonna say, like, if this comes in like a trade paperback, I want to say just get the trade paperback. There was I think there was, out of all of them, there was only one that I didn't really like so much, personally, and that was the Hawkeye one.
Okay.
But like everything else was pretty much spot on. Like I loved them a lot. And as a person who's like, because of the movies, I never really liked Dr. Von Doom. I'm like,
I'm not a Doom person either.
Boring. Watching this comic, reading this comic, I'm watching it. It's a movie, don't you know?
Movie in your mind.
Exactly. Like, I'm like, oh, this is kind of sweet. Oh, this guy is suffering. Oh, really? That's the memory you're going to get rid of? Weak. I'm like, this is an actual interesting character. Some people in my comment section were like, oh my gosh, I recommend this Doctor Doom comic for you. And I said, thank you. I shall read it. But yeah,
I'm not a big...
Get the trade paperback.
And they're older, right?
Yes, this is...
quite a bit.
It says here, like, depending on which one you get, there's, like, Star-Lord. That is prior to Old Man Quill, which I've heard nobody talk about in my life. I didn't know there was one. And then for the Wolverine one, it's prior to Old Man Logan. And then all of these are also prior to Wastelanders Avengers, which I also didn't know about. And then apparently, I'm not sure if the story is continuing or if this is like an audible version, but apparently you can listen in on, they have like their own audio podcast thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
And they have like voice actors and everything. So I think they just voice over the comic. I don't know. The way they explained it is kind of weird to me.
Sandman did an audible too. That's really, really good. It's all like fully cast and it's awesome. I didn't know they had that. That's really cool.
Oh, I found it. Looking for more Wastelanders? Listen now to the original scripted podcast series on the Sirius XM app or by subscribing to Marvel Podcasts Unlimited on Apple Podcasts. Coming soon everywhere. Marvel.com/Wastelanders.
That's freaking awesome. I love when they do stuff like that, especially if it's something good.
Yeah, but I do recommend it.
So for my next recommendation, I will go Marvel also. I have Moon Knight. I am a couple issues behind. I am. But I still wanted to mention this series because I'm not a big Marvel person. A lot of their characters, there's only a few I can really get into. Like, most of them at DC, I'm like, I love them. Okay, cool. I haven't had that same feeling with the Marvel characters. And then this new Moon Knight came out by Jed MacKay. And I've always liked Moon Knight for a while, but I liked the Jeff Lemire run. And there was a couple, I think maybe it's the idea of making, one thing for me that I really find endearing in superheroes is a little bit of relatability. And the idea that this superhero is not perfect, is not even mentally sound. I'm not saying I have voices in my head. I'm saying that it makes him more enduring and human to realize that it is not like a perfect Captain America type. And Jed MacKay, every single issue of Moon Knight has done a good balance with action, his therapist, his brother, like done an absolute phenomenal job. And I think his brother's name's Shadow King. I love that they're kind of like the antithesis of each other. They're opposite, but kind of not. And I love it. And because of that, I've checked out more of Jed MacKay's writing because he's a fucking good writer. Like, I didn't know this guy existed until this. And now he's got that Iron Cat series also, which is really, like, I've only read one issue, but that was really good too. So sometimes it just takes a good writer in order for me to check out something that I would have never checked out before. And Moon Knight, like, the show came out, I will say the show's better, but this is able to go more like, it very much so reminds me of like maybe a Midnighter type where he's like a very dark, grim Batman. Like, he's willing to take that edge. Like, he glued a motherfucker in a box and drowned him because he knew he couldn't die. Like, he has no problem being evil. And I love that.
Where are all the evil people nowadays in media?
Wait, what?
I was like, where are all the evil people nowadays in media? Not in the world. We already have too much of those.
That's true. I'm actually very surprised I know I've heard people say they like it, but I'm actually surprised it's not getting more buzz because even the art in this, every single time, it's almost kind of like Gleb Makinov type, like a little manga, a little mainstream. Like it dances around that line. And I really, really like it.
I should
Moon
also get
Knight
the
for
trade
the win.
paperback of Moon Knight. Because Marvel is just so hard for me to get into.
I'm the same, but I'm telling you, Moon Knight's really, really good. And actually, I have She-Hulk on my list too, and that's another good one. But what do you have?
I have my last Marvel series, because I didn't catch up on the other ones, which is like Black Cat and Iron Cat. So this one is Sabretooth.
Oh, yay!
I really am liking this series a lot.
Are you? I've never been able to get into that character. What's so good about it? Tell me.
So this one is like when I was first reading it, I'm like, yo, this is kind of bloody. And well, because he kills so like something happened before this. I obviously, like in the regular X-Men series, I don't know which one, but something happened. He's going on trial for it. And so in Krakoa, Professor X is young now and standing on two legs and has this big machine on his head.
I have no idea.
And I was shocked. I'm like, that's Professor X? I'm like, what happened?
Oh, wait, that X, is that weird X kind of head thing? I thought that was somebody else. I didn't realize that was him.
They called him Professor X, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's him. Like, I don't know if somebody's taking his name or something. So they're in Krakoa, which I'm super glad I would look at reviews talking about this series, because I would have never have pronounced Krakoa as Krakoa. So there's like this big tree, and in it you're kind of like in a prison mentally, like you're asleep, and you kind of like it's like a sleeping prison, but like if you know like everything's not real, then it's kind of like whatever, and they kind of use that to their advantage, because he rips a bear's face off. He what's it called? How does he do it? He chops off Nightcrawler's arm. He kind of, I think he eats people in this thing. Like, pools of blood everywhere. And I'm like, yo, is this for kids? And then I'm like, okay, let me look in like the front cover. No, parental advisory. I'm like, oh, all right, cool, we're gonna have some fun.
Yep.
So he knows that he's in this prison, and so he uses it to his advantage. And so he just does whatever he wants. So he'll do stuff like he said that he killed the X-Men multiple times. And then he kind of like he takes over and makes his own hell. And then you have like, I think 5 other people who just randomly also go into the prison for what they did. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is hell. And he's like, no, it's my hell. But, I'm going to give you a chance to run away. This is going to be really fun. Make sure I don't catch you. And so.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Right? But there's also something going on with him. I don't know if it's mentally or not. But there's this place where it's like, I believe it's his house. And then there's like, I believe it's a basement. And it's him wearing like a business suit, and then there's the child version of him with like blood all over his mouth, and then there's like how he looks now, but that is considered the beast, which is like the animalistic instincts, and then the business one is more like the intelligence. The kid one, I have no idea. It's not innocence for sure,
right?
Because that kid is not innocent either, from what the frick he says. There is a time when he visited and he was like, what the frick is this place? And he's like, hey, you're welcome. Well, now that you're here. And the thing is, like, he looks exactly like the beast. And so I was like, okay, so are you just gonna make them twins or whatever? Nope. When he comes in, the beast gets like bigger and more animalistic and has like fangs coming up from the bottom of his mouth. He was like, great, now we have no room. And so he's like, you want to get out of here? We have a plan. And so he kind of like tricks the 5 people that are also in this prison. And he's like, hey, work with me. I can get us out of here. When in real life, he's actually just trying to get himself out so he can escape. So he does escape. And now the 5 are being tasked. They're like, hey, we kind of like need you to take care of him. And they're like, okay, you want us to like bring him back? He's like, no, he's not coming back. And so he's like, okay, so you want us to kill him? But what about us? Like, we don't want to come back either, because you're just gonna put us in this prison again. And and so it's going on from there. Right now I have like up to issue 5. Issue 6 is like coming out soon, I think. But like, I'm really enjoying this series. This series is just fun. I know Drew said that it became like something else, and maybe he meant that like it turned from like him being in this hell, him just wanting to get out, and him leaving, and now it's this team of 5 that just are tasked with finding him.
And it also could be because he seems to hate everything. So that could be too. No, I'm just kidding.
And I believe he was what's his name? Sabretooth was also one of the remember them when we had that what was it? Top 10 sexiest characters or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I added Sabretooth on there.
Yes. And Nightcrawler.
Yes.
That's so funny. And the funny thing is I need to learn to judge by myself, because when this came out, I was like, I'm gonna see what reviews say. And when I seen that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pass on this. But now I hear it's good, so I might have to get the trade of it.
Get the trade.
I probably will, because I was like, right, a lot of times I don't know why I do that, because I don't know. Very rarely do I agree with Drew, but yet still
well, everybody's like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would. I mean, like, they just like you, they've been reading for a long time, and so they have their own specific views on something.
Right.
And I don't think he said it was bad. It just like turned to something else.
Yeah, that's true. So I was gonna say She-Hulk, but I feel like, yeah, fuck it, She-Hulk, my last Marvel one. She-Hulk has been really good. Now, again, I'm still an issue behind. That's why I was hesitant on saying it. But I think this series is a fresh breath air for Jen as a character, as compared to what we've had for a very, very long time. I know the writer Rainbow Rowell, she did The Runaways that I enjoyed, or I kind of enjoyed. At least towards the beginning, I enjoyed it. So I figured I would like this. And I know we talked about this before, but I love that. I love the new, he's not a new character, but he's a new character to me. Jack of Hearts. I love him. I think that's his name. And I think this kind of rebuilding of Jen after everything she's went through is gonna be hard to pull off, especially if they're still going for that, like, if they're going back towards, like, the fourth wall breaking sexy Jen that we had for years. I think it's going to take some time. But as of right now, I really, really like this series. I can't wait for the fucking show. Are they dropping, on, what is it, Wednesday? Are they dropping just one episode?
I don't know, actually.
I wonder. I don't know. I'll have to look into it, but it's a really good series. I am curious to see where it goes. I think it's an ongoing. I think.
It's gonna have, like, I believe it was 9 episodes. Oh no, wait, we're talking about the comic.
the comic. I'm
so sorry.
Yeah, 9 episodes feels like a lot for Disney Plus, but I'm glad for it. I am.
It's bigger than 6.
Yes. So let's both do one more, and then we'll do a part 2 next week. We'll just plan on it already.
Okay, cool.
I was gonna say about She-Hulk, but maybe I'll just steal you for a She-Hulk video during the week. But yes, because there's so many good ones I want to talk about, but I'm like, this is a really good idea. And then I'm like, but I need to talk about this one, and I need to talk about this one, and I need to tell her about this one, and everybody should be reading this one. So yes, do one more, and then we'll save, I'll probably have 10 more recommendations next week. Just saying.
What?
Or 9.
What? Okay. It'll have. I'll. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
What do you have for your last one for this video? And we're going to continue it next week too.
Okay, cool. So, I guess we'll start off with the DC. Which one should I do? Okay, I'm gonna do Jurassic League.
Oh, yay. I'm behind on that too.
I am caught up. I got the latest issue last night.
What is it? 3 issues now, right?
Yes. No, 4.
How is it? 4? Oh my god, I'm farther behind than what I thought.
Yes. Loser.
I know, right?
I am having so much fun with this series. Just from the first issue of the first cover issue, I was like, yo, Wonder Woman looks sick. She looks like she's about to destroy somebody. And then I see her in the comic book and I'm like, oh my gosh, you look so cute. You're so small. Oh, you make these cute facial expressions. Oh, you're just so adorable. I'm like, dang it. You ruined it for me. Why'd you make her so cute? But I love it that she looks so cute. And so unless it was like the way Wonder Woman dressed and stuff, it's actually really difficult to know like who's male or female if you don't know the characters. Because in one of the issues,
I noticed that with Giganta or whoever that was.
Yeah,
I was like,
I'm like, wait a minute, and I'm like, isn't that girl who wears like a Tarzan outfit sometimes and grows big? That's her, right? But once Batman said she, I'm like, okay, it is her. It's a girl. They don't have eyelashes or anything, so they don't have boobs or anything either.
Out of curiosity, is the little Robin still around? I loved him.
Yes.
Yay. Now I need to catch up.
I love that. I love that because Superman was raised by humans. He can speak human, so he can understand the little Robin.
Oh, yay! See, I didn't even get that far. That's awesome.
I'm on issue 4. That's where things are like starting. Like I find it so weird because everybody seems to have very primitive dialogue. But Hal Jordan comes up and he's like, yo, chill, bro. And I'm like, yo, why are you the only one speaking like this? Everybody else is so primitive, but you're using like slang language and our language. But he has said that he has been to outer space. So I'm wondering if that's where he has the modern language from.
I bet so.
A lot of I wanted to see more of the Flash. Flash Raptor. That's his name. Flash Raptor. I feel like I'm like, okay, everybody's getting a shine here. I need to see the more Flash Raptor over here. Loving his design. The highlight to me, the highlight character is Aquanix. Aquanix, which is Aquaman.
Oh, I haven't. Wait, I remember seeing the character, but I don't think they named him.
No, he gets the name. I think the issue after what you're reading.
Okay.
So his name is Aquanix, but
like aquatics. I love it.
And he is fun, and like he's fighting Black Mantisaurus. And he was like, you coward, fight me. And then he brings like all the sea creatures, but the sea creatures are like getting beat up by him. And he's like, no, sea creatures, go away. I will handle him. And then there's a dolphin named Matilda.
Oh my God, that's so freaking cute.
She looks adorable, and she tries to like fight him, and then Black Mantisaurus just punches it in the face, and he's like, Matilda, no. He loves Matilda so much. And then you see Matilda, they're like, oh my gosh, how's that dolphin? He's like, Matilda has a freaking eye patch. He's like, Matilda's right there, she's all right, I'm happy she's good. And then Black Mantisaurus comes, not Black Mantisaurus, Jokerzard comes out of nowhere, looks like he's gonna eat her. And he's like, Matilda! I'm like, yo, why is everybody hating on Matilda, bro? And then Joker kind of like spits her out. I guess she didn't taste good. And she's just flying. He's like, Matilda! And, he'll even use her as like an oh my gosh. Like how, Wonder Woman uses, like, says Hera or something.
Yeah.
Something, something like, by the fin of Matilda. Something like that.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
And I'm like, yo, this guy really loves Matilda.
Mm-hmm.
Matilda, no. And I'm just having so much fun with this series.
At first, when it was announced, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
No, I was just saying, at first when it was announced, I'm like, this is weird. It looks fun, but it's weird. I don't know if I'll like it. And then I'm like, but dinosaurs, like, exactly. How can you hate it?
So like apparently I didn't see Man of Steel. I was like, it doesn't look like it's for me. But I know that there was a dialogue in there that people didn't like, which was with Jonathan Kent and Clark. Where Clark was like, should I have saved those kids or people or something like that? And then Jonathan was like, I don't know, or something like that.
Yeah.
So the dialogue, they use that dialogue in here. And Super Sar was like, I don't know, there's these dinosaurs, and it's like, should I join them to fight evil, or like, but I want to stay here because you're my people, and I want to protect you because you're my parents and you raised me, and it's like, I don't know what to do. And that's when the father says, I don't know, but what I do know is that you're good. And that you should do good, and you should show that you are good, even if that means leaving us to go do it. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That's so sweet. I need to catch up. Maybe I'll catch up on that tomorrow. I think I thought I really liked that little Robin and how Batman just kind of grunted at him at the beginning. So I need to catch up. That's so cute. So I wasn't going to mention this one, but I'm going to save the other ones for next week because this is only one issue in. So did you ever read the original Deceased?
They're still in their original packaging.
I love Deceased. Tom Taylor on Elseworld Stories does really, really well. But it kind of like
they were really high rated. A lot of his work, I believe. Like Son of Kal-El got like an 8.9. No, Son of Kal-El got like a 9. Dark Knights of Steel got like, I think an 8.5 or 8.9 or something like that. And then Deceased, I forgot.
And then I found him through Injustice, and I absolutely fell in love. But we just got this week Deceased War of the Undead Gods, and there was a lot of kind of like they went through the virus. At the end of the last one, they got it taken care of. They found a cure if the person remained intact, right? They were basically zombies. But if you like cut their head off or anything, they're fucked. They're dead. So we're kind of seeing the fallout of that. We also get a new origin for Supergirl. So Supergirl, generally, we see her and she comes along, after Clark. Same kind of story for the most part. But instead, this time, her parents thinking that she should be sent to Earth, where Clark is, and where all these people are, powerless. Her parents are a little bit of assholes, I guess you could say, and think that she's way too good for Earth. Like, think it's a bad idea. So they sent her to New Genesis with all of the gods, and we're seeing we just see her land there, and kind of all of these gods are infected with this virus still, so they attack her. But another thing we see in this, which is really cool, because they left open a lot when it came to Clark, because like Clark had been in the sun in this series for a really long time, so they're trying to figure out how to heal Clark, but also like not die, like. Because he's been absorbing the yellow sun for years, and he's a zombie that's stuck there. So they have to figure out how to get him the medicine to cure him and not also get bit. And then we get the fallout of the deaths that had happened. in the very first issue of Deceased, we see Alfred trying to save, everyone's life. He actually kills Bruce. He shoots him in the head. Tim. And I believe, I forget who the other one is. But because and Dick. So he actually kills them all, right? Not they're not around. They're dead, bullet in the head. They can't be brought back. So we get Alfred, but he's having to deal with the emotion of knowing that he could, if he would have done something else, that maybe, just maybe, he would have been able to bring all of them back. So there's no going back. But we also have, it's weird to me to see Tom Taylor write Superman, John Kent, and Damian Batman, because it's almost like a continuation of Super Sons, but they're older. And I love the way that he writes their kind of back and forth. Damian's still a little shit, but he's an adult shit. And it's really good. And we see Brainiac's ship all fucked up coming in. And Brainiac actually needs some sort of help. And that's kind of where they leave it. But I love the emotional depth that Tom Taylor puts in these characters. Alfred being dead sucks in the main line, and it's nice to have him back. But he's also tortured with killing his 3 sons, basically. And it's really fucking sad. This whole first issue of this, because it's 8 issues and it's going to be the end of Deceased, is fucking heart-wrenching. Everybody is going through something. And it's so sad. There's so many times where I got to the point where I was misty-eyed. I'm like, you fucker. You fucker. Why are you torturing him? Make it okay. I know that's not the way comics go, but come on now. But they do end up saving Clark, so at least there's a bright side to that. So we got 2 new Supermen.
New Superman.
We got 2 Supermen. It's really weird, though. Tom Taylor writes Jonathan very different in Son of Kal-El. And as compared to this book. He writes him as much more of an adult, which is fine because he's gone through a lot more shit and he's got to, kind of step up. But it's very, very different. Almost night and day how he writes the characters, which doesn't make sense to me. And you mentioned
for Son of Kal-El, I think it's because he's more focused on the theme than the plot. So that could be the reason why he's written this way in particular.
You mentioned Dark Knights of Steel. I feel like that hasn't came out in forever. Now I gotta look it up.
I don't know, because I was like, I'm just gonna get the trade paperback of that, so I don't even know if it's done or not.
No, it's not.
Oh, is it a monthly?
Yeah, but I feel like I haven't seen it in 3 months. That's really weird. Really weird. I'm gonna have to look it up because that's a good book.
List.
I'm kind of due, but I have been dropping some stuff that I dropped Batgirls so bad. I dropped Urban Legends. I dropped Aquaman and some of these other titles. I'm just nope, not interested.
Oh, you dropped Aquaman. I didn't even know you were reading it. Wait, no, I think you mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still reading Void Song. The
Void Song's good. That's why.
Void Song's so good. I love the Arthur and Flash back and forth. They
Barry.
they don't hate each other, but they're not besties. So the back and forth is so good.
They're both stubborn in their own ways, and that's what makes them extremely flawed. And that's when they're like, this is not working. He's like, well, that's because you got to do it my way. He's like, no, you got to do it my way. And I'm like, guys, get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. Gotta get your head in the game. Woo!
I gotta look at the end of that because I was confused. This was all it was all Arthur's fault? I don't know.
Yes.
Arthur's dumb fucker messing with stuff you don't know.
Funny enough, I'm reading Andromeda by Ramvi.
That's how you say that?
I don't know how to say it.
I always said Andromeda. I don't know.
Dang it, that's what it's pronounced. Andromeda. Gosh dang. My pronunciation's so bad. So Andromeda, I just got the second issue last night, and I read it, and it was actually something similar to what's happening in Void Song. The people are in the ship, and they're like, oh, we're inspecting this alien ship, and they see Aquaman for the first time, and he was like, it's not an alien ship, it's Atlantean, but it does go up in space.
I haven't read issue 2 yet. I need to read that too. Oh my god. See how far behind I am with everything. I do have it though. I liked the first one, but it also kind of felt like an outside perspective of a story on Arthur. Like we knew it was going to be about Arthur, but it was coming from an outsider's view.
Well, it does say on here that it's about a team that goes in and inspects this thing. Second issue, you see a lot more Aquaman. He doesn't really talk much. He's like very short spoken, but he's mostly there to say, "Hey, you shouldn't be here." Like, apparently the ship is also a prison. And I'm not going to tell you what happens when they go in. It's some pretty messed up stuff. And the second issue ended with something I didn't expect very early on.
I love the art, though. It's so pretty. It's amazing.
Like, Aquaman looks scary and looks so fascinating at the same time.
I love it. I'm going to have to catch up on it. I'm opening it up right now because this Christian Ward, I was looking for the artist's name. It is so pretty. I love the color palette and everything. It's so good. But yes, we have to do a part 2 because there's still so many good books out there we didn't talk about. All right, guys, we are going to wrap up. Make sure that you subscribe to Bianca's channel. Remember, we said it was mandatory. Go do it right now. Just saying. It is in the description. We will have part 2 of our recommendations out next week. We will see you guys. Wait, is there anything I missed?
I don't think so. I sent you all the links too.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Okay. I will see you guys. We will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm not just a